Hey, I'm Dr. Michael Lange. We want to age as gracefully as possible, don't we? So is there enough evidence out there that proves that certain specific nutrients, ingredients, or supplements can enhance, our skin, our joints, our hair, our nails? And there's a lot of great science that's come out recently with marine collagen tripeptides, riceramides, hyaluronic acid, and there's a new supplement called Dermaval. Well, we've taken all four of those and we've combined it in a supplement called Rejuvenate. 3 delicious flavors, chocolate, cherry vanilla, pink lemonade, and then we have it unflavored for those of you that want to just put it in your coffee in the morning. It's worth a try. I endorse it, obviously, 100%. If you don't like it, we'll give you money back. It's as simple as that. So check it out at fortify.com.
I'm watching with a wandering eye. I'm waiting as time draws nigh. Hear the music run down your shoulders. Be the change you believe in. Create
Hey, guys.
something greater than yourself.
Start. Oh, hey, good morning and welcome to Ask the Doctor. I'm your host. We lost the intro there, but we're still going to wing it. If you're new to the program, who's Dr. Lange? I'm a board certified optometric physician. I am obviously the host of Ask the Doctor. I've been hosting Ask the Doctor for, 32 years now. We started hosting Ask the Doctor April of 1993. Now remember, this is a live call-in show, so no matter how simple or complicated the question is, if you got a question, you're going to shoot us a call. And when I say shoot us a call, it's Dr. Susan Summerton, along with myself, Dr. Michael Lange. And the phone number, the live call-in number is 1-813-282-8283. That's 813-282-8283. We got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk a little bit about inflammation in a few minutes and how curcumin may be a valuable asset in your arsenal of anti-aging nutrients, but how all curcumin and turmeric is not created equal. But first, I want to take this opportunity and welcome Dr. Susan Summerton. Good morning, Dr. Summerton.
Good morning, Dr. Lange, and all our listeners out there. Looking forward to another great show today and all the callers ready to call in. We want to wish everybody a happy Father's Day, and it's, I think, the Army's birthday today. Happy birthday to the Army and any of our listeners out there that have a birthday today, too.
Right. Happy Father's Day. All of you lucky dads out there, including me. Happy Father's Day. I think that's tomorrow. So any Father's Day questions, certainly give us a call. Once again, I'm a board certified optometric physician, a certified nutritional specialist. Dr. Summerton also
is an optometric physician and a nutrition specialist. We both hail from the Lange Eye Institute in the Villages, Florida, and Fortify Vitamins. I'm going to give you the phone number. Get a pen and paper for both Fortify Vitamins and the Lange Eye Institute. I'll give it to you twice. So the Lange Eye Institute in the Villages is 352-753-4014. That's 352-753-4014. This is a state-of-the-art eye care center in the Villages. We do just about all aspects of primary eye care with a nutritional twist. And then the phone number for Fortify Vitamins is 866-503-9746. That's 866-503-9746. And I like to think that we practice what we preach. I know Dr. Summerton was already in the gym for an hour this morning. What day was it? Was it cardio? Was it weightlifting? What did you do this morning, Dr. Summerton?
It was strength training today. We know that that muscle is super important to maintain, especially as we get older, and especially women in those menopause, perimenopause times. We want to really focus on the muscle, and we know that's an organ. It's an organ that helps our metabolism. It's an organ that's going to help keep us healthy into those all into your hundreds. So we want to all make it there with the quality of life. And it does take some effort to do it, but it does work. So it's kind of no pain, no gain.
Yep. And we are getting ready to take a call in just a second, but I still want to talk briefly about the topic today. We're going to be talking about inflammation. So natural activation of your immune system is what inflammation is. It's a goal of reducing the negative impact from trauma, all right, from infections, whether it's viral or bacterial or allergic, from toxins. So there's a whole host of things that create inflammation. And this is when white blood cells come in and try to attack the pathogen to heal the damaged tissue, right? So what are the symptoms of inflammation? Pain, swelling, redness, heat. If inflammation doesn't resolve, then it can result in chronic inflammation, aka chronic disease. So, what are some chronic diseases that are related to chronic inflammation? Arthritis, especially rheumatoid arthritis, cardiovascular disease, all sorts of autoimmune diseases, diabetes, even psychiatric disorders, things like Alzheimer's, obesity, believe it or not, and certain cancers, and then eye diseases, all the itises in the eye. I mean, dry eye, that's keratoconjunctivitis sicca, scleritis, iritis, uveitis, retinitis. So a lot of chronic diseases are related to inflammation. But also, you think about it, our typical diet in America is called the SAD diet. Right. We call it the SAD diet because it's pretty sad. Stands for Standard American Diet. This is pro-inflammatory. Another name for it is the SID diet, CID, chronic inflammatory diet. And what happens is our body, the foods that we're taking are way too high in pro-inflammatory omega-6s and too low in anti-inflammatory omega-3s. All right. So the whole goal here is to increase your omega-3 intake, which will ultimately decrease your omega-6 levels, and it will help with inflammation. And one of the best ways and the quickest ways to do that is eating more high-quality fish, like wild Alaskan salmon and sardines, or taking a good reesterified triglyceride form omega-3 fish oil. And we're going to talk a lot more about this in a minute. But I want you to all go to a website called healthbenefitsofomega3.com, healthbenefitsofomega3.com. And it shows you all the latest studies in science proving that the right form of omega-3 is beneficial to your health. But this is just a segue into what we're going to talk about in a few minutes called curcumin. And we're going to talk about that a lot more in a second. But first, let's go to the first call of the morning. And let's see, it's probably Steve in Claremont or Steve in Clearwater. Steve, good morning.
Yeah, I was going to say, right now we found out last night that the radiation from these attacks in Iran is leaking radiation. So far, it hasn't been serious yet, but obviously it could get worse. One thing that people might do if they hear us in Israel is that if you are exposed to low levels of radiation, there are certain foods you can eat, which we call radioprotective. Cabbage is one of the best. Broccoli is very good. And amazingly, just look up Google Scholar, radioprotective foods. And you can see what foods are really good to protect you from radiation.
Awesome. Yeah.
And cabbage is one of the best. They found that they discovered that people who eat a lot of cabbage, when they would get X-ray therapy or X-ray for cancer, their skin, they didn't get erythema from the X-rays, and the oncologist, the radiologist, couldn't figure out why, and it was because the compounds in the cabbage were protecting against radiation of the skin and stuff.
I wonder, Steve, I wonder if it's specifically cabbage or if it's cruciferous vegetables in general, like cauliflower and Brussels sprouts and broccoli. And maybe it's just those cruciferous vegetables that are high in indole C3.
Probably, to get down tighter, it has to be foods that have a lot of reduced sulfur, sulfur, not sulfate or sulfide, but sulfides. Anything that when it rots smells like rotten eggs, that's what you want to eat. Don't eat rotten eggs, but anything like that. I would suspect eggs would be good too. It's just something to think about. And then that you should always have plenty of iodine to make sure that your iodine, your thyroid is protected from radioactive iodine. One real quick thing I wanted to mention about this operation. Do you know what the name of the operation is that Israel gave this military operation?
What?
Lion Rising.
Right.
Now, what's very interesting about that is lion. What's the nickname for lion? It's king of the beasts. What celebrations are we having today all around the country? No King's Day. Having demonstrations. And we're having it on the birthday that a lot of people in the liberal side of the fence say on the birthday of the man they say is trying to be king. And another thing about this Israel attack is that Mars is known as the god of war. Okay, that's the Roman god of war, Mars. That's where the word martial arts comes from, or martial law. Now, what's very interesting about that is that Mars, which is the god of war, has gone into the constellation Leo, the lion, and would be activating that. We have also had a pope named for the king of the Jews, which was Jesus Christ, his successor, Pope Leo, the lion, 14th. There's all these things that are seeming to coincide with the Leo theme right now. And all over the world, there's things happening that you can trace back to the king, the lion, the king of the beasts, and anything. One more thing. If you talk about nuclear war, well, how did Mars get that designation, the god of war? If you look up on the internet, there is a very scholarly paper by John Vandenberg. He's a physicist, and it's nuclear war on Mars. Maybe, and this sounds a little bit far out, but we have found traces of a radioactive isotope on Mars called xenon. I forgot what the neutron number is, or what the isotope number is, but it can't be formed by the sun, or it can't be formed by any other way. It has to be formed by nuclear explosions. And there's two areas on Mars that the god of war, which have high amounts of this compound, and it cannot occur naturally. So if anybody wants to look at this article, look up John Brandenburg, nuclear war on Mars.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Steve.
It has nothing to do with curcumin.
All right, Steve. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Wow. So,
with Steve and curcumin is another one. It's not going to block radiation, but it being that anti-inflammatory, antioxidant effect that can protect against radiation-induced damage of the DNA. So we can tie that into the curcumin and the anti-inflammation there.
Absolutely. And, we're going to talk about curcumin briefly since we're talking about inflammation. We talk about omega-3 as being a very good way to help lowering inflammation. And certainly other things can lower inflammation, lifestyle changes, avoiding alcohol and smoking, lowering your BMI, lowering your fat amount on your body. Um, Discussing food in general. We discuss all the time with our patients on this show, the Mediterranean diet, the Lange survival diet, the paleo diet, the plant paradox, a ketogenic diet, all these things that have lots of fruits and vegetables, but, low amounts of carbohydrates. So there's a lot of things we can do, including even getting more sleep that can lower inflammation. And curcumin is one that we really got to talk about because curcumin is one of those most powerful natural anti-inflammatories that we have available. The problem is the lion's share of curcumin that you purchase over the counter does not absorb. It's just part of the turmeric root. It doesn't absorb. They try to add black pepper to it to make it absorb better, but then there's long-term potential complications with the mucosal lining in your gut if you're using black pepper extract for a long period of time. So we actually have a curcumin called Fortify Next Gen Curcumin. We use it with all of our patients. I use it personally because I got a lot of inflammation in my body. And it's the only oleoresin food grade curcumin on the market. And it lowers levels of pro inflammatory interleukins, tumor necrosis factor, nitric oxide synthase, even CRP, that C reactive protein, arachidonic acid. So it lowers inflammatory markers. It works really, really well. And like I said, it's an oleoresin food grade curcumin, which has not only just the turmeric, the curcumin in it, but it contains everything from the root. It contains the polar resins, the turmeric polysaccharides, the essential oils, not only the curcuminoids that are in it. So it's more broad spectrum, and the science shows that it's 52 and a half times more bioavailable than C95, which is the standard out there. So 52 and a half times more bioavailable. But so this works with all these people that have inflammation, but now there is more evidence, and Dr. Summerton is really in tune with this, that there is some exciting evidence with curcumin and the skin. Isn't that right?
It is. We've really focused on curcumin for lowering inflammation and from that spice turmeric. But recently, there was a 2025 review done. It was called Curcumin, a Potential Anti-Photo Aging Agent. And it talks about its ability to actually block UV induced what we call oxidative stress. So that's the damage that you can get on your skin from being out in the sun. So we like to encourage you to be out in the sun because we want you to get the benefits of that red light from the sun. We want you to manufacture vitamin D from the sun. But of course, we don't want you to damage your skin and we don't want to create more inflammation in the skin. But it's shown that that turmeric can actually, the active ingredient curcumin, can slow that collagen breakdown that the UV induced does. It can reduce those pigmentation spots, those aging spots you get from the sun. And we know, again, going back to inflammation, it can calm those inflammation pathways, those pathways like NF kappa B and MAPK. So they've really studied the science behind that. And just by using that spice, and we do, like you mentioned, we've got to make sure what you're putting in your body, you're actually absorbing it because you can take it. And if you're not absorbing it, you're just wasting your money. So we want to make sure you get a therapeutic dose to have a therapeutic effect so you reap those benefits.
Right. And I want everybody to go to the website, fortify.com. That's Fortifeye, fortify.com, and go to the section Next Gen Curcumin. Next Gen Curcumin. And this curcumin is called Curcugen. And you can always Google Curcugen. And it is, in my opinion, one of the, if not the most bioavailable forms of curcumin on the market. They've got 4 amazing studies behind this particular type of curcumin. They got an IBS study showing that it helps reduce IBS symptoms dramatically. Exercise-induced pain and inflammation. All of you guys and gals that are working out a lot and you want to recover even faster, Adding curcumin has been proved to help. Those of you with osteoarthritis, all right, a lot of pain from osteoarthritis may benefit from curcumin, not just curcumin. These are specific studies using curcumin, the IBS, exercise-induced pain and inflammation, and osteoarthritis studies using curcumin. So if you want the best form of curcumin, go and buy curcumin. And you need about 500 milligrams up to 1,000 milligrams if you're really inflamed. And ours is called Next Gen Curcumin, fueled by curcumin. And you take that with omega-3, like our Fortify Super Omega or Super Omega-3 Max. It's kind of like the double whammy of fighting inflammation and pain naturally. So something to think about. And now we know that curcumin may also be beneficial for the skin. So we all want to age as gracefully as possible, don't we? So think about adding the curcumin to the Rejuvenate. A lot of you are taking Fortify Rejuvenate, which you know is beneficial to skin, hair, nails, and joints. Well, remember, curcumin also good for the joints. So maybe bundling all three of those together, the Fortify Super Omega, the Next Gen Curcumin, and the Fortify Rejuvenate, and then see how you do. And not only is it going to make you feel better with less pain, help lower inflammation, but maybe even help the skin that much more than, say, Rejuvenate by itself. All right, we had a few people on hold. We're going to take some calls. I'm going to open up the phone lines now. It's 813-282-8283. You're listening to Ask the Doctors, Dr. Michael Lange and Dr. Susan Summerton of the Lange Institute and Fortify Vitamins. Give us a call. Consultation is free. Remember, this never replaces a comprehensive medical evaluation or an eye evaluation. This is for educational purposes only. And the phone number is 813-282-8283. That's 813-282-8283. Dr. Summerton, before we take the next call, what did you do? Did you do anything different today? Did you, before you worked out or after you worked out, did you take a pre-workout or a post-workout supplement?
I actually did both. We know from studies that it's a little different for men and women pre-workout. Men can get away with doing a fasted workout because of the glycogen reserves in their muscle. They can still take it and it still benefits, but they can get away with it. But women, more importantly, need at least 15 grams of protein before working out. So I actually did an almost full scoop of the whey protein before basically, while I was driving to the gym, I was actually drinking it. And then when I got home, I actually had another scoop of the whey protein and I added some honey because I wanted to increase my little carbohydrate that I had just ate. I mix it with water, so I'm rehydrating with the water at the same time. And I always like it the Fit Pro, so I've got my creatine in there. We want to make sure we get the creatine. And that's another thing. People used to think creatine was just for bodybuilders. I myself thought that years and years ago. That's the only people you heard of taking it. But now we know it's not just for bodybuilders, it's for our brain. Even I know we both tend to, if we have that lack of sleep, we have to function in clinics seeing patients the next day. We want to be on top of our game. And that actually helps with the brain fog. And so it keeps our brains active. And we want to make sure, again, it's creatine monohydrate to make sure what we talk about that word again, bioavailability, so that we make sure we're absorbing it. And of course, it helps with that muscle recovery as well, which again, we don't want sarcopenia. We don't want that muscle loss with aging.
So I do want to mention the new chocolate protein, the New Zealand grass-fed Fortify Super Protein should be in this week. It was shipped out of Miami on Friday. Who knows? Maybe we'll get it in today at the Fortify Nutrition Center in Clearwater, but it should be in early next week. We've had a huge back order on whey protein for the last year. There was none available in the world. So none, put it this way, good quality, non-denatured, grass-fed whey protein. But now we have no whey protein shortage. We have our Fortified grass-fed whey protein, and 30 servings in a container, a clear container, unflavored. We have the vanilla super protein. That's a grass-fed New Zealand whey protein concentrate. And we now are going to have the chocolate New Zealand grass-fed whey protein again. And of course, the vegan protein has become a huge hit since we didn't have the chocolate whey protein in. A lot of you have tried our fortified vegan super protein, the only non-Chinese made vegan protein made exclusively here in North America. And we added velocitol to it. So the amino acid profile, including the branch chain amino acids, are that of whey. And many of the essential amino acids are actually higher than whey. So if you don't want to have an animal source protein like whey, then think of our fortified vegan super protein. It's delicious. It's chocolate, vanilla, and salted caramel mocha. And it is not grainy or chalky at all. And before we talk about the next topic, Dr. Summerton was involved with us on the taste test forever for this supplement, the vegan super protein. It started out grainy and very chalky. It'd make you cough. But the final product turned out pretty good, didn't it, Dr. Summerton?
It did. And if anybody has tried vegan proteins before, they may have been turned off because a lot of them on the market do have that. So if it's taste that you're concerned about, I encourage you to try it because it's quite delicious. I mean, we went back and forth. That's a little chalky. I want it more chocolatey. That's just not as much flavor. And it was going to find because if it doesn't taste good, even though it's good for us, a lot of us aren't going to want to do it. So we needed to get that taste to motivate people to put that healthier food into their body. And it's hard to get. We want at least like 30 grams of protein per meal. And it can be a challenge to get that much protein in, especially if in the morning time I'm not that hungry. And so it's nice to just know I've got some healthy protein in me to start my day off.
Right. And most of us, like we always preach, aren't getting enough protein. Think about it. What'd you have for breakfast? A piece of toast and a cup of coffee, oatmeal and a cup of coffee, cereal, maybe some orange juice. You didn't have a lot of protein. So protein is very important. You got to get at least 70% of your body weight in protein. If you're athletic or trying to thrive and not just survive, you need to get 1 gram per body weight in protein. So Dr. Summerton mentioned creatine, how important it is. And creatine is amazing for the muscles, the bones, to fight against concussion and depression, mental clarity. And there's a lot of research on creatine. But there's something that we don't talk a lot about, and it's called HMB, specifically MyHMB. And this is a metabolite of leucine, an amazing science, amazing studies. And it has a dual action. It stimulates protein synthesis, and it also reduces the breakdown of muscle. And they got 30 years of studies on this. So HMB, when it's combined with creatine, is amazing. I got to just give you some of these percents. So it's 57% less muscle protein breakdown when you're taking something called MyHMB. 250% greater increase in lean muscle mass versus training alone. That's 250% more lean muscle mass from taking MyHMB. Now, here are the people overweight, 210% less body fat than a training alone. So all of you that are wanting to get on a GLP-1 receptor injection to lose weight, think about, taking MyHMB. 250% more muscle synthesis, 210% more fat loss, 200% increase in quadricep thickness. And for those of you that are wanting to jump high, all right, volleyball, basketball, 54% increase in aerobic power and 58% increase in vertical jump. Now, when you combine this with some whey protein, collagen protein, betaine anhydrous, the Creapure creatine from Germany, and then maybe some PKTP for energy, it is amazing supplement. And voila, that's our Fortify Fit Pro. I know it's almost Father's Day. All of you men out there, you want to be, stronger, faster, more virulent, more energy, higher libido. You got to try Fortify Fit Pro, but not just for men. It's for women. My 97-year-old mom takes it as well. Also has L-citrulline, which acts as a vasodilator, increasing circulation. So go to the website at fortify.com and look at Fit Pro. Let me give you the phone numbers, and I see we got some people chiming in, asking some questions via text, but 813-282-8283. Give us a call at 813-282-8283. We're still going to talk about men and how to increase testosterone naturally in just a second, but this might be good for Dr. Summerton. We got somebody on Instagram messaging me saying a few weeks ago, Dr. Summerton was talking about a drug and something else to kill the mites on eyelashes. Please help, help, help. Double exclamation point. I have Demodex and need help.
Yes, we were talking about blepharitis, which on our inflammation topic here, blepharitis is inflammation along the eyelid margin, and it can be caused by bacteria or the Demodex that our listener is referring to. We have for a long time been treating it, and our baseline treatment is the tea tree wipes. So the Optase with tea tree we use a lot. There's Ouse with tea tree. You don't want to put direct tea tree oil on your eyelids. That is way too harsh and it will burn the lid. But they've taken the active ingredient out and put it into these wipes that you'll need to use twice a day for a full 6 weeks because Demodex is a mite. So it goes through a cycle of laying eggs, and we need to make sure we get that full cycle of twice a day. And there is the new medicine drug that we're talking about is called Zemdevi. It is a little difficult to get covered through your insurance. So you'll have to work with your doctor and your insurance company. You have to kind of get this special approval. But we've worked with special pharmacies to get a discount, and I've just seen really good results. And it's a dosing of morning and night for again 6 weeks, and it really clears that up. And then we also have the IPL treatment. That's a series of light therapy treatment that is done every 2 weeks for a series of 4 treatments. That also helps with the blepharitis, along with dry eye that tends to go hand in hand with blepharitis. So there's different ways of targeting, but the specific question, it was the Zemdevi drop that she was referring to.
Yes. Thank you. Perfect. All right. We're getting ready to take the next call. If you got a question, give us a call, 813-282-8283. You can also go to the website at fortify.com to learn more about the supplements that are fully transparent based on our motto, right ingredients, right science, right for you at fortify.com. I will be at the Fortify Nutrition Center today, and I'm going to head over there probably about 1 o'clock and maybe stay till 3. 1 to 3 today, I will be at the Fortify Nutrition Center. This is the day before Father's Day. So come on out, pick my brain about nutrition. We can mix up some samples of some proteins and stuff and let you try it. All right, let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Fred in Sarasota. Fred, thanks for holding. Good morning.
Morning. I try to do the right thing, healthy things, but often I don't remember why. Example, I awaken every morning, swallow a 45 probiotic, put on good shoes, and then go out for a fast 45-minute walk. And my girlfriend says, why are you doing that? So I say, on a great radio program, Dr. Susan Summerton and her co-hosts say I should. And with that, I lose all credibility. Would you please explain again why do I do it about the walk? And tell me, where do I find that explanation online?
Dr. Summerton, I'm going to let you chime in on that.
I believe he's just kind of talking about how just walking and staying active is better for you. I think a lot of people kind of heard about the 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day, which we know is going to improve your cardiovascular health. That's good for your heart and your blood pressure. We also know walking is just good for burning calories and weight management to keep you moving. We know it's good for your mental health and your mood. It boosts those endorphins, it reduces anxiety, depression, also improves sleep quality. It stimulates that metabolism. It's so good, especially for the diabetics. Get out there and take a walk. That improves your insulin sensitivity. It lowers that fasting glucose. There's even been studies about helping your cholesterol. You're stimulating your muscles, you're stimulating your joints, you're reducing that stiffness and like reducing risks of osteoporosis. And you're even improving how long you're going to live. The more you move, getting those steps in, you're going to live longer and you're going to have a better quality of life. So keep up the good work.
Voila. And then also for those of you that are wanting to lose a little weight, the best way is to walk for 45 minutes or to an hour or a half hour to an hour first thing in the morning before you eat breakfast, because now you're a fat burning machine. There's no carbohydrates in your system. You're burning pure fat. So hopefully, Fred, that gave you enough reasons to continue walking.
That was the explanation I was looking for. Thank you, Doctor. I'd like to leave you with a joke, but I know you don't have time, so I'll just give you the punchline. From the back of the room comes the same voice, 81. See you next time.
Fred. What? He's a hoot. He needs to come be a guest on the show. Maybe he can walk from Sarasota here. All right.
And he does sound very healthy with a lot of energy.
Yes, he does. A vivacious young man. So we're getting ready to take the next call. So please hold. I want to talk really quick about just to the men out there and the women, because they're going to appreciate this as well. Listen up very carefully. If we want to stimulate testosterone and some other health benefits for men, I'm going to tell you some quick things you can do very easily. Number one, pomegranate. How many of you eat pomegranate? Hardly none of you. And you got to cut that bad boy open and you got to get those little seeds out. It's kind of messy. You can buy the seeds already pre-seeded in a little, cup at the grocery store, and you can eat that. So pomegranate has been shown to increase testosterone and to increase something called urolithin A. That's an anti-aging ingredient, basically. But it can increase testosterone by as much as 24%. So start eating more pomegranates, all right? Tomato paste or tomato sauce. We've talked about this. Tomato paste and tomato sauce will lower your PSA, all right, as much as 20%. Men, you don't want to have an elevated PSA, so consider having some tomato paste and tomato sauce. Matcha tea is a new one that's really got some advantageous health benefits. Matcha tea increases testosterone. A lot of you men are going to like this now. Lowers ED, all right? Decreases hair loss and decreases, believe it or not, prostate cancer. So we should all be drinking a little matcha tea. Whey protein. We've talked about this. Whey protein increases testosterone, increases muscle mass, and increases glutathione, the master antioxidant in our body. And then vitamin D and or sunshine increases testosterone and increases your libido. All right. Now, when you combine the pomegranate, the tomato paste, the matcha tea, the whey protein, the vitamin D and sunshine, along with proper sleep, hydration, exercise, wiping out the booze intake or not abusing alcohol intake, and no smoking, and then combine that with a few other foods, the cruciferous vegetables, the cabbage, the broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, some dark chocolate in moderation, eggs, kale, avocado, olive oil, oysters, salmon, tuna, and honey. Boom. You'll be a lean, mean fighting machine with a high libido, and you will be happy, and your loved one would be happy as well. All right, that was for all the men out there. Now we're going to go to the phones. Let's go to David in, I think, Claremont. David, thanks for holding. Good morning.
Hi, Dr. Lange. Can you hear me?
I can, loud and clear.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Lange. I was going to see if you had time for two questions. I'll run it by you really quick. I'm a 67-year-old guy, and the shingles vaccine has been offered to me, and I did some research on Singrix, Singrix, and one of the serious adverse events of this is that it has it affects the eyes, and it's called optic ischemic neuropathy.
Hmm.
It was reported in 3 subjects in the clinical study and 0 subjects who received placebo. So it gives me concern about my eye health if I get a vaccination of Shingrix. So that's
Right.
my first question.
All right, so let me comment on that. So there's a lot of drugs out there. You always have to look at the potential benefits, and do the benefits outweigh the risks? Okay, and so not only that vaccination that you're talking about, but believe it or not, we were just talking about doing things for ED, and then GLP-1 receptor drugs. All of these, the one you're talking about, and the other two, all can increase your risk of anterior ischemic optic neuropathy, and that is kind of like a stroke to the eye, basically to the optic nerve, and can cause complete blindness. All right. And then
Right.
if you listen to my show for a long time, I'm the biggest advocate of as natural as possible. I mean, I haven't personally had a vaccination since I was a kid. Okay. And I haven't let my mom be vaccinated. My mom's 97, still plays tennis. All right. And she might not be alive today if she had all the vaccinations that the doctors wanted to give her. So I am a big advocate of, building a powerful immune system as natural as possible. However, you need to talk with your doctor about that. I'm just here to educate you. And once your doctor and you discuss it, then you can make a kind of an informed decision on what you need to do. But you think about it, I've gone, 63 years, and you've gone this many years, and you haven't had a shingles outbreak yet. Now, if you had chicken pox, you might have that ability to have that outbreak, but you might go the rest of your life without having it. So I don't like just putting more and more drugs into my body. Just what if it happened, because it may never happen.
Thank you, Dr. Lange. I appreciate that. I echo those comments. My second question, really quick, is I'm on this HCG.
Oh, we lost him.
Okay, we lost him.
He was probably talking about human choreoacric growth hormone or something. I don't know what he was getting ready to say. But David, you can call back and ask that question, or you can call back next week. Anyway, phone lines are open. 813-282-8283. That is 813-282-8283. I see somebody chiming in again on social media saying, Dr. Lange, please go over the testosterone boosting foods one more time, a little slower. All right. And that's Tom. So, okay, get ready. All right, I'm just joking. I'll go a little faster than that. Pomegranate, number 1. So eat more pomegranates, or get the pomegranates that are already seeded. All right. Remember, it will increase testosterone in something called urolithin A. Tomato paste or tomato sauce. All right. Now, remember, this is high in something called nightshades and alkaloids. So if you have a reaction to eating lots of tomatoes and it causes inflammation in your gut, you may not want to consume that. But most of you can have some tomato paste. Matcha tea. All right. Matcha tea has been shown to increase testosterone, lower erectile dysfunction, decrease hair loss, and decrease prostate problems. Whey protein increases testosterone, increases glutathione, increases muscle mass. And then vitamin D. You can get a vitamin D3 supplement, or get a little sunshine, increases testosterone, increases your libido. Remember, if you have a tan, you always seem a little bit more vivacious, don't you? All right, let's go to Robert in Saratoga. Robert, I'm not sure where he's from. Largo?
Yeah, Sarasota.
Sarasota. Okay. Hey, Robert.
Yeah, if we could circle back real quick, I'd love to hear your response to men's health, particularly ED and low T. In the last 5 years, it seems like we're getting inundated with these low T clinics. So I went to my physician. He checked everything and explained to me some of the environmental concerns. He basically explained to me how adrenaline, serotonin, dopamine, how all that stuff works together. Screen time and doom scrolling, it's gonna creep up on us as time goes on. He explained that your body produces only a certain amount of dopamine a day, and you can use that up just with doom scrolling and screen time. And he said he's got a lot of younger men coming in. I'm a 57-year-old man, and I'm guilty of it. Absolutely. I wanted to hear your response to that. And I was through the education process, sitting there listening to him. I don't think anything like that ever gets out to men on how computers and screen time and stuff kind of burns up your dopamine and creates those issues for men.
Well, the screen time is not good. Not only are you getting all these weird frequencies into your body, okay, but also it actually tells your pineal gland to stop secreting melatonin. All right, and if you're in front of that computer all the time, your melatonin levels drop and sleep becomes impaired. And if your sleep becomes impaired, you cannot function as a male. Your testosterone will drop. Your cortisol levels will go up. Inflammation will go up dramatically. So what do you do? Right? I mean, we have to be on the computer. We have to be on the iPhone, it seems like these days. So, never put it close to your head. Always speak on speakerphone if you're on a cell phone. The further it is away from your body, the best. You can wear some blue filtering lenses like blue light defense or blue light shield that will help block the blue light from going in and telling your pineal gland not to secrete melatonin. And therefore, you won't have the circadian rhythm of your sleep cycle interfered with. Believe it or not, one of the biggest things out there that affects men's hormone is sleep problems. All right. I'm going through this with my brother right now, and he's seeing a doctor. He's put him on way too much testosterone. His estrogen went way up. He had to get on a Miradex to lower the estrogen, and then it lowered it too much. And it's all, I'm pretty sure, related to his massive sleep deprivation. And when he does sleep, he's not dreaming. So he's not going through those cycles of sleep that are rejuvenating and refurbishing your body. So, it's interesting. I took a week off and went up to the mountains with the kids one time. This is a few years back. And we got there on a Friday afternoon, and the electricity and the power was off in the cabin. We had no electricity until Monday, so nobody could charge their phones. We had no TV, no computer, and it's the best I've felt in 30, 40 years. I slept like a baby because we didn't have all this EMF interfering with us. So if you shoot me an email, I got a whole bunch of information that talks exactly on this that I can link back to you. Let me give you my email address. It's idude92@icloud.com. I'm going to give it to you slowly. I'm going to spell it out because you're probably still listening. I know I lost you, but it's idude92. That's EYEDUDE 92@icloud.com. And just say, what your question was. And I got some really cool information that I can send you. All right. Dr. Summerton, before we take the next call, you want to chime in on this whole thing with, screen time and computer and iPhone use?
It is. They've looked at a lot of kids and the dopamine connection. And what they figured out with social media, the gaming, those kind of short form contents on like TikTok, it actually causes those dopamine spikes without a little bit of effort. And the problem with it, it becomes so frequent that it desensitizes those dopamine receptors. Actually, pretty much the same way, the same pathway of reward in addictive behaviors. So the more you do it, it becomes less satisfying. And so you don't get those benefits of that dopamine. And that's really the dopamine is what gives us kind of that motivation. Um, and because testosterone enhances that dopamine signaling, that's kind of why they think when you have higher testosterone, not only in men, but women too, women have the testosterone as well, that you get greater risk taking, like more confidence, improved mood and motivation because of that dopamine connection and how you feel.
So the less screen time, obviously the best, and try to get off the screen 3 hours before bed. 3 hours before bed. Also, a little trick of the trade is something I developed called Fortify Focus. Fortify Focus contains lutein, zeaxanthin, and astaxanthin, increases macular pigment density, so that protects your retina from this harmful blue light. Because not only can the blue light cause systemic problems, but ocular problems, and it can cause retinal problems. So think about Fortify focus, one gel cap a day to help that. All right, we're going to go rapidly. We got a few more people on hold. Let's go back to David again. David, thanks for calling back.
Thanks, doctor. Sorry about that. Doctor, I wanted to ask you, so kind of a bigger question. What it is I had my DNA recently evaluated by Ancestry, and I had the raw data provided to me. And then I did I went online, and I think Stanford has a program called Prometheus, which allows you to determine the SNPs. And I have, and I wondered if you've ever pursued that. And it's rather complex to analyze this data. I wondered if you could speak to that issue.
Yeah, so that's a great question. We don't have much time. And if you could email me, I can certainly talk to you more depth about that at idude92@icloud.com. But in that arena, that's not an area of expertise. I know a lot about it. We've done a lot of DNA studies looking at specific SNPs and alleles for macular degeneration and for zinc absorption. So that's more of an area that I'm an expert in. But I do have some really cool information. If you want to go to my email, I'm going to give it to you slowly. idude92, idude92, so that's EYEDUDE 92 at iCloud.com. And that's the letter I. And anybody else listening, you can shoot me an email. And then I have a lot more time to give you a much better answer. How's that sound?
Awesome. Thank you, doctor.
All right, David. Thanks. All right. So we got about a minute here. We talked a little bit about inflammation. We talked about the Fortify Next Gen Curcumin fueled by curcumin, how it's very beneficial for inflammation and pain. And also when you combine it with omega-3, our Fortify Super Omega or Super Omega-3 Max, or a TG form omega-3. So check that out at fortify.com, FORTIFEYE, fortify.com. Dr. Susan, you got time to tell everybody goodbye.
Wishing everybody a blessed day. Thank you for listening. Go outside, enjoy a nice walk, get a little sunshine, and do all you can to stay healthy.
All right. And to all the men out there, tomorrow is your day. All the dads, happy Father's Day. Go have a great day. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening to Ask the Doctor. I'm Dr. Michael Lange, helping keep America healthy and safe. See ya.